I just want to.
Living if you're already dead, it's not worth saying if it's already said. Even if it all goes over your head, believe it if you want to. So keep your eyes on the road and your head in the stars. Find a way down the rabbit hole just a little while longer. You can change anything if you want to. Sing it like ooh, if you want to. Sing it like ooh, if you want to.
Here, and I'm here with one of our great sponsors, Larry Jaeger. Larry, I want you to just give a little bit of history of your background, what you did, how you got here. Well, not literally how you got here. Obviously, we all took planes here.
Spirit Airlines.
Right, Spirit Airlines. There you go. The best, right?
Yeah.
They make you pay for air. Anyway, so tell us a little bit about yourself and how you got involved in all this.
Yeah, no, I appreciate it very much. And first and foremost, I want to thank you and your brother Ben for putting on another great conference. So appreciate it. I love participating. I have for several years now. So appreciate that very, very much. I think a big success here.
Yeah, I mean, we you know, all the panels that have come on and throughout the last 2 days, which is our sort of experiment in the hybrid experience now because of COVID and everything, which is pretty much the way it's going to be probably from now on. Is these panels have been really, there are people here that are passionate about what they do. They're passionate about esports, they're passionate about the casino industry, they're passionate about what the future is going to bring. And you know, that really just opens up a whole other world, because these are the thinkers, the changers, the movers, the dreamers of like the future of what we want to do. And I'm so happy to be part of this group and this community. And you know, we talk about all the time, we'll get into this, as well as the esports and that A word, the authenticity word that's always out there. How do we leverage that, you know, and how we leverage it, how we move it forward. And, you know, we walk a tightrope in this industry because, you know, when you're involved in video gaming and esports, that's what they want. They want that authenticity. And it's a great way, because why does that always come out? Because anyone who's a professional gamer and anyone that plays video games can actually become a professional gamer in esports. There's no barrier to entry. And I always believe right now it's a common theme throughout our world. I mean, look at cryptocurrency. This is another barrier that is going to be broken. The barrier of a Hollywood star has been broken. Why? Because anyone can become an influencer. Anyone can become a rock star overnight now with TikTok and YouTube and all these other possibilities. So let's get into your background again. You're going to talk about, like, you know, how you got here and what you've been doing in the space.
Yeah, well, and without boring the audience with the long version, I come out of technology. I'm a technology guy, so I spent many years in corporate America, 10 years running sales and marketing teams at Apple, Intel, Salesforce. So I came from a technology background as far as like how I built my career, which is very interesting because I was born of an era you would call me a digital immigrant, meaning every piece of technology I've ever touched, I had to learn. kids today are born into it, and you give a kindergartner an iPad, and they instinctively know how to like maneuver around.
Yeah, they see little kids with like little, they have their own little iPhones. I mean, it's crazy.
Exactly. Yeah, but if you're 7 and you have $1,000 iPhone, that's a different world from what I grew up in, right? So I come out of the technology world, and I did that, and after I was successfully able to kind of exit corporate America, I had an entrepreneurial spirit, wanted to start my own thing, and one of the areas that I identified is that sponsorship at a high school level, so high schools across the country, they have a very marketable asset, Friday night football and all kinds of other sports, but they don't market it the same way, certainly as the professionals, but even in collegiate sports at all divisions, have really monotonized that opportunity, and there wasn't an ability or any company helping all of these high schools. So I got into that. We started with doing naming rights for high school football fields across the country. I founded a company called Sponsor Burst. And believe it or not, a couple million, $2 million, $2.5 million naming rights deals for high school football stadiums. And the reason is it's community advertising. The local car dealer puts his name on the local stadium and becomes a hero to the community. And every time you walk into that stadium, you see that company's name or the local healthcare provider, that sort of thing. So that grew from there. Expanded into some collegiate sports as far as sponsorships of that, and then got a contract with one of the largest theme park companies in the world, Cedar Fair. Cedar Fair owns 15 amusement parks across the country. Some of the biggest, like Knott's Berry out in LA, Cedar Point, others. And so we do sponsorships for them. Out of the sponsorships, the high schools that we worked with were struggling with this new thing that they were being tasked with, and that's developing esports programs. The reason they needed to develop esports programs is equity across the board for all of their students, meaning there's over 300 colleges now today that offer scholarships for esports, just like they do for basketball and football and volleyball and all of that. And if these colleges are offering scholarships, the high schools needed to create programs. So all of these high schools that started reaching out, and we started helping them with esports, and that's how I got into this, and it just exploded from there. And as we grew that sponsorship and that high school esports sponsorship business, that led to other opportunities. And esports, as we know, has exploded, especially over the last 5 years. So we started getting involved in esports at the region level, certainly high schools across the country, and then our other partner, Cedar Fair, expressed an interest in esports. So I became a managing partner in other entity, Esports Development Corp. And basically we've announced this past summer that we're developing an esports arena. It's kind of going to be the top golf of esports, we think. And it's going to be a 1,500 seat arena, 200 gaming stations, dorms, brew pub, a whole kind of experience for esports. And it's attached to an existing sports center with 15 basketball courts. So there's youth coming through this building every weekend, and then certainly during the week as well. And so,
and you got the sponsorships to put them in there. So it's gonna.
And we get the sponsorships, and our group is actually developing the property that's attached to this youth sports. And less than a mile away is one of the biggest amusement parks in the country in Sandusky, Ohio. It's called Cedar Point. So with 4.5 million visitors every year, you have a built-in demographic and an audience. And we're looking to expand those into other parks in their system across the country. But pretty excited about that. So I've been knee-deep in esports. And because of this, because of the marketing on that, the one question that comes up time and time again with sponsors, not so much the endemic sponsors, chair manufacturers, headsets, whatever, but the non-endemic sponsors, the AT&Ts, the Verizons, the Coca-Colas, right? Those,
Coke can right next to you.
there's my Diet Coke. I always have that at my ready at all times. Non-paid advertisement, by the way, so no money for you, Ari. Anyways, the one question is, the non-endemics is why esports? Why should we participate in esports? We don't know anything about it. They don't at times realize how huge this industry is. How it's going to be $1.7 billion, by the end of 2022, right? And those are huge, huge numbers. And so, in response to that, obviously, what I've seen is this is a generation that grew up, I call them digital natives, grew up with technology. They're cord cutters. They don't have TV subscriptions when they, move out from mom and dad. They stream shows. They have ad blockers, so they don't have to look at your ad on Facebook.
Entertainment when they want it, and whenever they want.
It's an on-demand culture, exactly. And as you said, they can become creators as well as consumers of the content. So you have a whole different world here. And for advertisers to reach this next generation of consumers, the traditional ways of advertising, television, print, online, aren't necessarily working.
Yeah.
Email marketing is the largest form of any type of marketing and the most successful across every generation except for Gen Z.
Right.
Gen Z.
They don't even read emails.
They don't read emails. They may not even have an email account. So because of that, and because of my experience in esports, I wrote a book.
I was going to get to the book.
Thank you.
And then it's called The Esports Revolution: How Visionary Brands Connect with Gen Z. It's a very interesting book. You can get that. Where's that? Amazon?
Amazon, Barnes & Noble online.
Amazon, Barnes & Noble online. And it's an interesting book because you just touched on it. In the book, you refer to these Gen Zs as the digital natives. Are these the ones that you're referring to when you talk about digital natives?
Absolutely.
And so, everyone, I know that you're saying that they don't read emails, but honestly, if you don't have an email address, then how are they going to get to college and, connect with their professors? Because those guys are not going to talk to them on TikTok. But if there is one thing that you can say about why someone should get this book and who should be purchasing this book, maybe you can cover that.
Yeah, number one, anybody interested in gaming and esports, because we kind of go through the history of esports and gaming and give you the chronological history and all of that. So it's very interesting to see how the genre has developed up to this point. But secondly, if you're a marketer, if you're a CMO, if you're any entity involved in marketing, you really, I think, owe it to yourself to be able to explore why this is a great interactive way to be able to reach a demographic that's going to be very, very elusive for you through traditional means.
Right. So in other words, you've been involved in esports now how many years?
About 5-6 years.
5 or 6 years. And the concept behind what you're saying is that, there's corporate America. There's guys that run, the CMOs that run Coca-Cola, and the guys that run, all these big corporations, and they really are truly struggling on how to connect to that younger demographic, to that Gen Z audience.
Yes.
And that's just going to get harder for them if they don't. Who knows if they're going to still be in those employees, employed as those as chief marketing officers, etc. But my point is that these are the guys just to get a quick, how many pages is this?
About 250.
All right, 250 pages. So Larry's already done the work for all you marketing or chief marketing officers out there. And, getting the book, reading the book, understanding it is the first step, I think, in really trying to understand this digital native market. It's because this also you can apply, because if you go one step beyond this, then we're getting into metaverses. And what is the metaverse and how do you sponsor in a metaverse? and how do you advertise in the metaverse? Well, that's already been done. It's done in Fortnite. It's done in some of these other. There was a concert in Fortnite over the pandemic, and it almost like the pandemic has moved us to another level. That this book is even more important now than ever, because if you're not even up to speed with general esports, and they're already creating virtual worlds and metaverses, then companies like Coca-Cola are going to be left behind.
Yeah, and then esports and metaverse creates an immersive opportunity for these brands to authentically reach, what we call this Gen Z. Pandemic stopped the world for everybody last year. That included sports and advertisers, and everybody struggled to kind of find their niche and move their product to an online, not physical type of environment, as you saw. And esports thrived in that environment because they flipped in-person tournaments to online. We're very easily able to do that. You referred to a Fortnite concert. That concert was Travis Scott.
Yeah.
That was a huge
Huge moneymaker for Epic.
Huge moneymaker for Epic. And the whole idea was in the middle of this tournament, you had this immersive concert experience. And the concert experience actually drew 43 million views for that specific event. And to put that in perspective, last year, when the world of sport was struggling with the pandemic, the 2020 World Series, Dodgers versus Tampa Bay Rays, averaged 9.7 million viewers per game. So 43 million versus 9.7. The NBA Finals, 7.5 million. So you really have an understanding. That is what gets the attention of a marketer. If a CMO sees that you have that many impressions or eyeballs and that opportunity to reach an audience, especially an audience that isn't going to necessarily tune into a World Series game, but certainly tunes into this concert with Travis Scott and a Fortnite tournament. There's your opportunity right there.
Yeah, and just even going in another direction, if just as the casinos, if you take them as a product like Coca-Cola, and they want to reach that audience because their audience is aging out. So if they want to stay around, this is also a good tool for any CMO from any casino that wants to really understand esports. Now, I want to ask you a quick question. Do you cover anything in here of the pitfalls? So obviously, what are the mistakes that someone could make in trying to market to Gen Zs, or the falsehoods that they may have in regards to this digital native?
Yeah, I mean, that's a great question. And what especially a non-endemic type sponsor struggles with is like, okay, I want to get into esports. What do I do? Do I sponsor tournaments? Do I sponsor a physical arena, like Rice Arena? Do I put traditional signage like I would at the Allegiant Stadium for the Raiders? Or do I sponsor teams or publisher titles? So that's the whole universe there. And we kind of go through all of the different opportunities of where your sponsorship dollars and your marketing probably would align best based on your brand and what you want to accomplish in the audience you want to reach at the end of the day.
Yeah, there's a lot of people out there that could use this information, could use this book. And you're going to be doing this brick and mortar. Can you tell us a little bit more? Where are you starting that? I mean, where are you from originally? Where are you based?
I'm an Ohio guy. I'm Cleveland, Ohio. So I'm a long-suffering Cleveland sports fan.
So we've had a bunch of Ohioans here.
Yes,
I mean, we had Bill Colley, state senator. There was a gentleman here. I met another guy named Ray Yoder. I don't know. Do you know Ray Yoder?
I don't know.
Anyway, he was here.
Sorry.
He was based in. He worked with John Madden and some of the other people on the sports side. But just in relation to this, I mean, since this is a casino esport conference, we're talking about wagering. How can someone who's involved in the casino industry from a wagering perspective in regards to approaching or sponsoring events where you're trying to get more punters, or trying to get more bettors, connect to that digital audience? And I mean, don't be afraid of it, people out there, because what we're really saying is, and when I say connect to those people, we're not talking about 12-year-olds. We're talking about, Gen Z now is what 21. Some of them are 21 and older. Most of them are at this point. So we're really talking about an age group that is kosher. So that's a good thing.
No, exactly. And I think what a casino has to be very cognizant of is you have to create an experience that attracts this gamer or this Gen Z other than just the game itself, because they can sit at home and do that, right? And so all throughout this conference, speaker after speaker have talked about creating these experiences and bringing in gamers into environments where they have gaming, but they're able to socialize, because at the end of the day, people are tribal and they do want to socialize, even though they have their friends all over the world that they can play against at home from the comfort of their own basement. They come and they're able to socialize into an activity that they love and enjoy. And that's one of the things we're doing with this project up at Cedar Point with the amusement park. We're creating kind of calling it a top golf of esports. So you're going to be attached to a basketball facility, a sports facility. You'll have gaming, you'll have esports, so you can watch concerts and do gaming. You have a group hub, so you're able to do it if parents come and bring their kids to a tournament. You're going to be able to have that dorm, so you can have camps and tournaments overnight, and then go ride a roller coaster the next day. So you're going to have all of that. And if you're a casino, the mistake would be is to just take out, a couple rows of slot machines, which are revenue generating, and so they certainly never want to do that. And then just say, well, we're going to make this our esports area. You need to create an immersive experience and give that Gen Z who isn't necessarily traditionally prone to going to a casino opportunities to come and have experiences. Yes, they can game. Yes, they can do tournaments, but then they can socialize. They can have pizza parties. They can come and maybe play a blackjack, game, that sort of thing, and have that experience. So you have to build that around the gaming.
Yeah. So the book again is called The Esports Revolution: How Visionary Brands Connect with Gen Z, and this can be found on Amazon. Anywhere else?
Amazon, Barnes and Noble online,
Barnes and Noble online
as well. In honor of you, Ari, we've made it $10 for anyone who's watching this, and you can go and buy it for the show.
Well, thank you, Larry. That's very generous of you. Well, anyway, again, I'm really, really happy that you made it out here to Las Vegas. We really hope to see you in future years. And this year being a pandemic, no one knew what to expect. I mean, we were just completely and so living your life, moving forward, believing that, as you said, we still have to go back to in-person. Even gamers, who the digital natives, as you call them, still need human contact. We always need a hug, and that's an important thing to always remember, because we are human after all, until we become androids and they put chips in our heads. That'll be a different story. But for now, this is Ari Fox at the Casino Esport Conference for 2021, putting that in the books, and we hope to see you all again next year at 2022. Larry, thank you so much for joining us here.
Thanks, sir. You guys did a fantastic job blending online and in person here, and it was a home run, so congratulations.
Thank
See
you.
you next year.
Take care. Thanks, Larry.
Living if you're already there, it's not worth saying if it's already said. Even if it all goes over your head, believe it if you want to. So keep your eyes on the road and your head in the stars. Find a way down the rabbit hole just a little while longer. You can change anything if you want to. Sing it like ooh, if you want to. Sing it like ooh.